It's on air. Look, it's live. I don't know.
Hello?
I don't know if you normally see this when it goes live. Like, there's a nice yellow box.
I get the yellow box. I don't get the little blue thing.
Oh yeah. No, the blue thing is different. This is good. Hi. We're live. So, this is weird. This is awkward.
It's
awkward. We're sitting next to each other.
Yeah,
this has never
I've been doing a
happened
podcast for about 2 years and never actually seen.
We've never
seen
actually
your
sat
face,
next to each
but
other. Yes.
Yeah, it's strange.
It is. Yeah. Stranger and things are stranger than fiction and truth and weirdness.
But it's also fairly easy meeting a new person who's been talking to them for 2 years.
Yeah, exactly right. Okay, yeah. So hi. This is going to be a slightly unusual episode of Australian Transformers Weekly, but we are still your main, best, and only news source for Transformers news in Australia. That's not true. We're not someone's only news source. We'd like to be someone's only news source, but like
we're the better one.
Yeah, we're a better one.
We're the only one that you should rely on. You only need us.
We're a better one, and a cleaner one, and a better one. Wait. Anyway, so hi, this is episode 154. There's only two of us this week. As Max and myself, we're both in the same room because I'm in Adelaide and Max is in Adelaide. Does this mean that I'm being powered by a Tesla battery?
I think we got rid of that.
You did, in fact, get rid of it, but like we're still going to bring it up on every episode because it's become a trope now. So yeah, this is episode 154. We are clearly recording live, and it is not June 2nd, as the run sheet says. It is, in fact, June 3rd, because we had an accident in recording the podcast last night. As I mentioned, I'm in Adelaide, which means I've been availing myself of lots of Farmers Union iced coffee because it's the best bloody iced coffee in the country.
Otherwise known as a well-rounded breakfast in South Australia.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that, but I don't know. Yeah, you seem to have done okay with it.
I'm not dead yet.
No. So this is episode 154. We will be talking about prototype images of Beast Wars Megatron, the new masterpiece figure on the block. Yet another third-party record. We like to think there's a new third-party record every other week, isn't there?
I'd say every week more like.
Yeah. And we just agreed not to talk about this, but I'm just going to say there is a Bumblebee trailer on the way. It's expected to hit next week, June 5th.
June 5th, which is Wednesday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's June 5th in the States, which makes it sometime next week here.
It could be 2025 by here. So we'll probably be talking about it next week. Hopefully we'll have some screen caps or a bit of an analysis. We were talking about it over dinner tonight. Hopes are like, I wouldn't say hopes are high.
I think they're high. From what everyone's been saying, that the test footage that's been shown is looking really promising. So
yeah, this is true.
Hopes are high on my front.
Hopes are high, and they're just in the perfect state to be dashed. We will see how that goes. The trailer for Bumblebee comes out next week, and we're probably not going to talk about it in the show, but it is just a little bit of news. So all of this and more is going to be coming up in the show shortly. And I was just like, no, not yet. We'll just sit here for a minute and let the music play. There we go. The music's nearly finished. There's no music. I actually reckon Brad might just put this part in the show.
That seems like a Brad thing to do, actually.
It would.
We said, hey, Ray, can you cut this out before he just leaves it in?
This is true. It's very true. Okay, right. So, hey, welcome to the show. We're assuming that the previous part of us just discussing things about not being cut out is going to have been cut out. So this part might also have been cut out. So welcome to the show. I'm Jason. Sitting next to me is Max. This is the first time this has happened. In fact, I think there's been two prior occasions where we have had multiple hosts in the same spot for the podcast. One was, I think, just 2 weeks ago for Comic-Con, where Mikey and I were in his parents' holiday house in Terrigal, somewhere between Sydney and Wollongong. And previous to that, I believe we actually had Brad, myself, and the inimitable sometime podcast host Bill Finger on. I don't know if you've ever shared a podcast with Bill before.
On very rare occasion.
Yeah, because it is very rare that he actually does come on the podcast. But we actually have had everyone in my study. at one point for the podcast, but it was a really long time ago. So it doesn't happen often, but it has happened twice this month.
Is it I can't think of something funny to say.
Okay.
It's about the third time I've said that today.
We'll move. You know what? Let's assume that you did just say something hilarious, right? Yeah, great.
What a comedic genius.
I know. It was very well done. Like, it was very witty, and yeah. So what have we been up to today? We have. Let me set the screen share up. We have actually been.
We did a little toy fair, except.
We did a toy fair.
Except it wasn't a little toy fair. It was the Adelaide Mega Toy Fair.
It was, yeah, true. So I assume that I've just done the screen share correctly. I don't know if I have or not, but this is where we were spending our day today, sitting somewhere behind that pile of Transformers, and all of the stuff. So looking at the table, we had quite the great collection of figures on the table. From the left, we had many collectible figures. In fact, you know what? You can actually zoom in on that. There we go. Look at that.
Yeah, isn't that fancy?
That is pretty fancy, isn't it?
So there was a few little Iron Factory Seekers there. You know, Unite Warriors, Devastator. I mean, Jason, of course, brought along a couple very rare pieces like his Shattered Glass Drift and Cyclonus. You know, we sort of try and have, you know, a bit of like regular mainline stuff, but then, you know, Masterpiece, third party, KO, you know, so G1.
I actually made a point of not bringing anything that wasn't a real Transformer. So,
I made a point of doing the opposite of that.
Yeah. So like the table's quite balanced. Yeah. But yeah, so like I thought we had quite a nice spread of Transformers. There was a lot of comments made by people coming past that they really enjoyed the display and just like seeing so many Transformers. We hear this a lot when we go to conventions, right? People at Supernova always come up and they're always quite impressed by the figures on the table. They remind them of some aspect of their childhood, and wackiness ensues. And so yeah, that was no different today. But yeah, it was lovely to meet everyone, and hopefully everyone who's joined the Facebook group as a result of meeting us today is watching now or somehow watching the podcast. And yeah, it was lovely to meet everyone.
Yeah, it's good. You know, you worry about reaching a sort of saturation point where you do enough shows in one place that you run out of people to sign up, and it felt like that at the start of the day. But as they went on, and
we had a lot of people come by that we knew.
Yeah, it's like, I've ended up with regulars. It's like, oh hey, you're the guy from the previous 50 Adelaide shows.
Yeah,
Elder TCJ stall that. But no, it starts to feel like that, and then all of a sudden you get new people and more new people and more new people, and they're just as into it as anyone else. They just happen to not have discovered the club yet. So I guess that's the whole point of being out there at these conventions, is sort of bringing the community together a bit and
yeah, absolutely
showing them that it's out there.
So yeah, we don't know how many people would join the group from Adelaide today as a result of meeting us, but like, yeah, we're hoping so. So we've got a couple of photos of today's going on. Someone came past with a Coneheads figure, and so I just said, you have to let me sit next to all of the Coneheads on the So these are Max's Iron Factory figures there, and there's the Make Toys Media behind it. But yeah, there's
a little Masterpiece Conehead.
Yeah. There's a few masterpieces of Coneheadery going on in this shot.
Plus we got
these were me just sort of like trying to show perspectives from some of the.
Is this Jason showing off a camera on his phone? Let's be real.
This is true.
This looks. Yeah. I don't like the look of this photo. Sort of Scorponok overlooking everything.
Yeah. So we had Mega Action Scorponok on some. Was this yours?
Yeah, this is my one. This is. Which attracted a lot of people. You know, it's one of those rarity pieces that you try and bring most to the conventions, because people don't know. Everyone knows like MP10.
Well, so people don't know MP10. People know Optimus Prime. And I actually thought that was kind of one thing that we had lacking on the stand there. We didn't actually have a very obvious Optimus Prime. So it's a good thing that people recognised Scorponok and Fort Max as well.
Yeah, I have this issue where I just never bothered to buy like a proper Optimus Prime.
You know what? If only there was some kind of a toy fair where maybe someone would be selling an Optimus Prime, but they're not. There's no masterpieces on sale.
Well, if only there was a toy fair, perhaps in some place like Japan next weekend, where they happen to be showing a new one.
Wait, is that where they're going to be selling the gold MP10 as well, or is that later this year?
I think it might be the same thing because it was in the same article in that magazine scan. So
yeah, good, because like I've pre-ordered that and I could really do with that turning up sometime soon. Yeah, so look, we had quite a lot of fun today. It was good. We enjoyed meeting people, and yeah. But shall we move on?
Might as well.
We do have the winner of this week's Bot Shots competition. It is, of course, Queensland rep Chris Turner, who is fast becoming a bit of a fan favourite with his.
He's making a habit of this.
He is making a bit of a habit, isn't he? So, are these both the same figure? No, they're not. There's one is.
Is it?
I think one is Fans Toys. The Fans Toys Weird Wolf.
Yes, it's definitely Titan's Return on the left, and then the right one is either Fans Toys or Fans Project.
Yeah,
they both did one, and
it might be Fans Project actually because it looks a little bit smaller.
Yeah, and also I can't tell the difference in base.
Neither can I, frankly, and we didn't put it in the run sheet, so oops. But excuse me. Again, but so congratulations, Chris Turner. You are in the running for the June competition, or is it actually no? You know what? Because this competition actually happened during May, so he's the final. He is in fact the final weekly winner for May. But the monthly draw has happened, and Luke Dunn was the monthly winner, and I believe he ran. I think he won. I don't actually know.
It was a oversized Squeaks from the last night.
That's right. Yeah, Squeaks. I was trying to think of the little blue guy. Yeah. So Bot Shots is the competition where we encourage you to, as you can see, take your bots out from behind their glass, behind their closed doors and the hermetically sealed cabinets, and put them out in the wild. Take them out for a photo shoot. Do something fun and cool with them, and you never know, you might walk away with a free transformer.
Yeah, it can't actually hurt you.
No, but you know what can hurt you? Yes.
Oh no. Tragedy has struck.
Tragedy has struck. Toys R Us Australia has followed Toys R Us America and Toys R Us UK into administration for entirely different reasons than, actually not different reasons, but not the same bout of reasons. Basically, they've lost a shitload of money, and the company is closing up as a result. So, where we've recently seen over the last few months a spate of closures from Toys R Us stores in the UK and the US, it's about to happen to Australia as well. Not sure that we actually have. Do we have a time frame it's going to happen?
I don't think they've announced anything like that yet. They just said it's happening. It's happening.
One important casualty of this is the surprising pre-order that we had earlier in the year for MP34S Shadow Panther. Toys R Us surprised everyone with the best pre-order price in the country for it. And now, if you're waiting for that figure from Toys R Us, you are screwed, because they will not be getting it, and they also will not refund your pre-order. So you will end up with store credit if you pre-ordered MP34S, which is quite a shame. But I'm sure there's some Transformers or something that you can spend that credit on.
Yeah, and you'll get more value for the credit because Toys R Us is probably going to be having sales over the next few months.
Yeah, probably, very likely. Now, one other important thing to note is that, so if you are holding a gift card for Toys R Us, you will probably not be allowed to use that gift card unless you put down as much money as the value of the gift card that you want to use. So if you want to use a $50 gift card, you're probably going to have to buy items worth $100. So you'll use your gift card for $50 and you'll have to spend $50 of your own money in order to get that $50 credit. It is a bit of a shame, but that is unfortunately how administration works for these companies. They treat gift card holders as creditors, and so they don't necessarily pay out all the creditors as they go bust.
And it is technically illegal, so happy days.
It is, well, yes, unfortunately it is illegal. That's just how it works. But look, some companies, when they go into administration, they refuse to honour gift cards entirely. So the fact that Toys R Us's administrators are actually allowing you to use the gift card, even if you have to put some money down, is still a good thing.
It's better. I suppose they're doing better than most. They're like, hey, we know we screwed up.
Yeah, definitely.
We try not to screw you over as well.
So there's a new masterpiece on the horizon, isn't there?
There is indeed.
There is. Everyone was, I wouldn't say people were super surprised to see this revealed a couple of weeks ago, but now we are seeing Figure King magazine with some exclusive pictures of MP43 Beast Wars Megatron is the new masterpiece on the block. And look, I'm not a Beast Wars fan.
I don't think either of us are.
Damn, this looks good.
Yeah, like subjectively, I hate it. Objectively, this looks incredible.
Yeah. Look, so we can see the face sculpts there at the top as well. Like very, very, very evocative. Like I like it. I reckon this figure is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it doesn't hold much appeal to me, but just looking at it and what they've been able to achieve here, it's a fantastic looking piece.
Yeah.
And like to get that level of accuracy as well, you know, something that they've been able to consistently nail with these Beast Wars figures is commendable for sure.
It really is. Excuse me. So you can actually see in this screen up the top left, there's a bit of a comparison about how he stacks up with the other Beast Wars masterpieces. Now, I believe he is in fact a retool of Dinobot, but you can see he's much bigger. And Dinobot's a big masterpiece. He's the most expensive masterpiece figure yet. So I have a feeling that record is going to be taken away by Megatron very quickly.
Yeah, so that's what you get for liking Beast Wars.
Yes, yeah. What you get for liking Beast Wars is a lack of money in your wallet.
The only potential worry I can see on this figure is if you look at the shot of the figure's back, you can see all those panels folded up. But
yeah,
even then, right, that's so much of the T-Rex mode that's just been stacked up right there, and it doesn't look to protrude too much. See, it is obviously kibble, but it doesn't look very obtrusive.
Yeah, no, look, there's going to be a lot of kibble. You can see it on the body of this figure where, like you said, all of those things are going to fold up. But look, it's a really impressive beast mode.
Yeah, I personally don't see any way around it. To go from this robot mode design to this beast mode design requires a lot of cheating on the part of the CGI model.
You say cheating? Oh yeah, no, okay, fair enough. On the part of the CGI model can cheat, but the designers of the toy have to not cheat.
Yeah, and for what they've had to achieve, they've done a phenomenal job. There's no question there.
Yeah. So yeah, look, a lot of people have been looking at these scans and going, "Oh my god, there's lines all over the place on it." But like that's actually been the case with all of the Beast Wars figures. They've had a lot of lines breaking up what would have been the skin or the surface of their beast mode, and I think it's just how the design conceit for this generation of masterpiece works. And
in many cases, you do have all those gaps and panel lines on the G1 style masterpieces as well.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, and I think increasingly you do these days as well. Like figures like Megatron and Sunstreaker, they've got a lot of pieces folded up and compressed into their body in robot mode. Now, this is not the only thing that Figure King magazine revealed as well. So what we're looking at here is the Megatron from Studio series. Is that right?
Yeah, this is the new Voyager one.
SS11. So he's the new Voyager Megatron. With those tank treads for feet, is he based on Revenge of the Fallen Megatron?
Yeah, this is they've finally gone, yeah, we're going to properly nail this design.
And he is pictured there between next to the Revenge of the Fallen Prime, who was also the first Studio Series Prime as well.
Yeah, and I feel like with this, he's got those gaps in the torso, which a lot of people were, myself included, were fairly derisive of when we first realised that was going to be an issue. But all things considered, it's still just such a good looking figure.
He does look good, doesn't he?
So it has that major issue there, but to be able to achieve such movie accuracy, aside from that, it's another really well put together entry into the Studio series. You can see like the scale in this picture on the bottom right here, how they've initially been going, yeah, we get it's the same size class, but you sort of fudge it a bit and intersperse the budget between figures.
So if you look at it, like Megatron's obviously the bigger and more imposing figure, but his eye line is only just a little bit above Prime's eye line.
Which I think that kind of works, because he wasn't massively larger than Prime in the movie.
No.
So obviously, from a figure sense, it's going to look like that. But in terms of the actual scale and accuracy, it's pretty spot on. And I think it's a similar thing with the leaders, whereas Grimlock is definitely a taller figure, Blackout has a really significant amount of mass to him.
Yeah. Blackout's chopper mode is actually just huge.
Yeah.
Now, something else here that bothers me with this the Studio Series Megatron. How did he pick anything up?
Do we ever see him pick anything up without using his claw, like to stab something?
Probably not. This is probably why. Like maybe Megatron's just misunderstood, and someone just needs to give him a hand.
Yeah, literally, because he doesn't have.
Give him a hand. Yeah. What else we got down there? There's
got another look at Jazz, who's looking still pretty solid.
So Jazz is not actually out in the first wave of Studio Series. He is coming in the second. So he's SS09, and I think we've got SS1 to 7 in Australia at the moment. So this will be the second wave, which is actually due in a few months' time, isn't it?
I think it's starting to trickle out, but it's one of those things where the factories just make it.
Yeah.
Like Studio Series popped up in like February.
Yes, it did actually make it to Australia quite quickly. So hopefully Wave 2 will make it to our shores quite quickly as well. What else have we got there? Is that a lockdown?
It's the sort of redo of Deluxe Lockdown. Just a lot of the time, the Studio Series feels like the apology toy line.
Yeah, no, it's the greatest hits toy line, and it's also we should have done this in the first place. And there is a brawl there as well, right?
Which is not so much of an apology as a reason for an apology. But, that's neither here nor there, because Lockdown looks fantastic. I mean, I can't really point out a whole lot of flaws of that figure,
except for being released after Peruka.
Yeah, that is the other thing. We've discussed this a few times in context of third-party pieces, where it's like an official figure or another third-party figure comes along, and we say, and it's like we would all be singing the praises of this figure and talking about how amazing it is and how they've managed to retain such a high level of accuracy on this design, except we're not, because someone else already did better.
Yeah. But I mean, like, how much was Peruka? It was like $100 and something.
I paid $140 for mine, and that was from one of the cheapest places around.
So you're like, that's 50% of the price of the Studio Series leader again. So fair enough. Anyway, let's move on. We're not actually done with Figure King magazine yet. So Power of the Primes is winging its way to Japanese shores at the moment. There was so there's an Instagram dealer that I purchased some animated figures off a few weeks ago. He's posted up how disappointed he is this week that Power of the Primes from Takara is literally a Hasbro box with a sticker on it. Now, in response to this, practically everyone who follows him on Instagram has gone, why are you surprised at this? This has been known for a really long time. But, whatever.
It's a change in the status quo that's existed for about as long as Transformers has.
Yeah. Now, what we do have here is not the first wave of Power of the Primes, which is already out here, but what we're looking at, so they've called this Phase 3 and Phase 4. So what we're looking at is Inferno, who is only just hitting the US shelves. Now, Inferno is just a redeco of the old Hotspot mold. And
we were expecting him a couple of years ago, and he never came out.
Yeah. We were all quite surprised that he wasn't an immediate redo of Hotspot, but now he's here and he is a redo of Hotspot. He has the unfortunate consequence of being a combiner torso. So good on you, Inferno. I don't know if he actually has an official name for a combined form, but there we go. And we can see the Insecticons Scrapnel, and Primes and There's actually the same figure used on the left and the right, isn't there? Oh no, no, there's not. PP32 and PP35 are not the same figure.
I think PP35 is Inferno.
Oh, 35.
No, that's 36. So, 32 is the landmine.
Yeah, I don't know any of the fembots from Power of the Primes.
I think that's Firestar. Yeah, because it's a red one.
I could swear they're both the same figure.
Well, no, because PP32 is the Prime Master thing. It's just a very poorly laid out magazine.
Yes, no, fair enough. Fair enough. Poor form. Let's move on to the last things that this poor form magazine has revealed to us. Now, these are pretty exciting. Now, there's actually quite a lot to take in here, right? So, we do have the MP 29 plus the toy colored version of Shockwave,
which is the colors this figure was actually made to be in.
He looks damn good, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people really love that lighter purple, but there's no question that Masterpiece Shockwave is based on the toy.
Yeah.
So that purple does seem out of place. This is much more fitting.
It's very true. Over on the right, we can see MP42. Does he actually have an official name other than like White Sunstreaker?
It's Cordon.
Cordon, that's the one. Yes, Cordon Bleu. So yeah, there's been a lot of speculation about how Takara would reuse the Sunstreaker mold, and here's our first outing, which is a Diaclone homage.
I doubt it'll be the last outing because
I don't think it will either.
That mold has some history, like, as the very first Diaclone figure as well.
I can't wait to see the black version. Actually,
did they do a black version?
There was a black Sunstreaker.
Yeah, that could look amazing.
Might be an e-hobby figure actually, but we will see.
I mean, we can say for certain at this point that it'll be a red version.
Yeah,
it'll probably be similar to Loud Pedal.
Yes, yeah, probably will. I actually wonder if some of the recolors of these figures. So, one not on this page is the MP36 Plus, the toy color version of Masterpiece Megatron, which I gotta say, the more I see that this week, the more I'm likely to buy it. We'll see. But so some of these figures are becoming more exclusives to Takara Tomy Mall. Some of them are probably going to go to conventions as well. In fact, we see here we've got the Phase EX1. It's the gold MP10. Now, looking at the you said that's actually coming out this week or so. I think you're right. Looking at the text there, we have 6 and 9, which I think means the 9th of June, which is the fair next week.
Yeah, Tokyo Toy Fair next weekend. I think that's also in reference to the little tease we see just next to it.
There is, maybe just move the mouse over it so people can see. There is a bit of a tease there. It does look like there is going to be a new Optimus Prime revealed.
I've been calling it for about 2 years.
People have been calling this for a long time.
I know.
I don't think you actually get points for it anymore.
I'm the one who refused to buy an MP10 for as long as I've been collecting.
Yeah.
Because it's like, this is coming at some point.
Whereas I have bought all the MP10s, and now I'm looking forward to capping off that collection with the gold MP10, which...
And you can look forward to buying them all again.
Yeah. So the saga of the gold MP10 is actually kind of an interesting one. Toybot Imports was actually the first one to put up a pre-order for this figure, having received some notification somewhere that it's coming. And then that got noticed by a lot of the news sites going around the internet going, oh, hey, these guys have a pre-order for a gold MP36, so MP10. So, maybe that's coming out. Turns out, yep. Now, looking at the photograph here, I'm wondering how shiny this is going to be. I'm wondering if it's
approximately 50%.
50%.
Yeah, because half the figure is unpainted and it's just regular gold plastic.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm getting at, right? Like, a lot of it looks like it's actually a matte gold color, not a shiny gold finish. But look, I think it's likely that there's going to be enough pieces of this that have the shiny gold finish, so that in vehicle mode it looks shiny gold, and in robot mode, obviously the parts that would grind on each other, they're not going to use gold plating on.
Yeah, I mean, I do almost feel like maybe it would be worth just having it as a matte gold finish, because this way
they've been playing.
It looks
with
inconsistent.
a matte finish on the 7-Eleven version.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you could almost say it's like, oh, instead of having red and blue, it's gold and shiny gold.
Yes, yeah, and like, it practically is that, isn't it? Yeah. I guess on the arms there's sort of a mix of what would have been red.
Look, I mean, ultimately it's a gold prime. I mean, you can't complain about the accuracy of it. It doesn't look quite as nice as we had imagined it would.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm still going to be quite happy to add it to my collection. So, what's the new prime tease there? We're looking at. There's a couple of things that we're looking at, right? There's some detail from the leg on the right, and there's a detail from the chest shown on the left. The chest shows an interesting window design, and I gotta say, not actually loving where the smokestack is on the arm there. I don't know. Something about this doesn't quite sit right with me.
Well, I mean, ostensibly I agree, but also it's the tiniest picture imaginable, so I'm trying to reserve judgment.
It totally is. But so there's a pretty good school of thought in the collecting community, which is, why do we need another prime? Like, we're all pretty happy with MP10, I think. So I don't know.
MP10 feels slightly dated.
But that's the thing.
But only slightly.
Well, it is dated, but it's dated also when you put it up next to something like MP36. Like, there's so much more detail in that figure. But I don't know that they're necessarily going to deliver that amount of detail into an updated prime. But we'll see.
I think the thing with prime is it doesn't have to achieve quite as much as MP36, and I don't think that this would be happening if we hadn't just gone with an MP36.
I think you're right. I think the team has obviously gone, right, we've done such a good job with Megatron. We need to do something equivalent for prime.
MP36 was its own entity. Well, it was designed to be, this is an update. This is how we fix a slot of Masterpiece Megatron. And MP10, people were fine with that.
Yeah.
And it's when MP36 came out and there were two quite different figures. People were like, but it's like, maybe this prime isn't so much an update to an outdated figure as it is a companion piece to MP36.
I think that's about right. I do wonder whether they're going to do a sleep mode MP10 to say goodbye to the mold as well.
It depends on how the market would turn for that, because a lot of people already own knockoffs that look like that.
Look, mate, I don't know if there's a lot, but yeah. Is there anything else in this magazine? This magazine has been bountiful and has delivered a lot of news to us this month. There is a weird captioned piece of the new Masterpiece Megatron there, but that's okay.
I think that is that. So
let's head on over and talk about Dream Factory. Now, we did promise a third-party wrecker at the start of the show, and so this is their prototype of Roadbuster from Dark of the Moon. Now, I don't really care.
I don't know who that. Well, actually, Brad who's not on the show. Like, he really does like the records from Dark of the Moon.
True, he does.
And he doesn't seem to be the only one. So I know that there's a thing where a lot of people seem really attached to him and want to get a definitive set.
Yeah,
and then everyone else just doesn't care.
Because all the records weren't actually in Dark of the Moon.
No, there was three of them. There was Roadbuster, Topspin, and Leadfoot.
And this is not the first time that we've actually seen This is not the first time we've actually seen a third party going at these figures.
Right. Yeah, I think this is the first third party one. It looks like it'll actually make it to production because someone else did it, but it was just a knockoff of the regular versions. Whereas this is the fully original design from the looks of things.
Yeah. Do you want to scroll down and see if there's actually a vehicle mode there as well?
I mean, it's not perfect looking. There's a little bit of kibble there, But what it does,
so that's very much how these cars are designed in Dark of the Moon as well.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I mean, yeah, I'm the one. Like that's perfect to movie. You can't disagree with that for the vehicle mode. I think the issue with the Wreckers in Dark of the Moon was that there was a whole bunch of different versions of them, but none of them are really unified. Like, so you had your Human Alliance and your Cyberverse and your Deluxe, and there'd be one odd one out, which would either have, two of them would have a regular vehicle mode, and one had the weapons.
Yeah.
Or two had the weapons, one didn't. And so there's been that lack of unification. And then you also factor in stuff like Leadfoot. The Deluxe one was basically impossible to get.
Yeah, like, availability is also an issue.
It's like Cogman on steroids.
Spoilers. All right. We've established that we're not going to buy these, but Brad probably will. So let's move on. Yeah, this is so we've talked a little bit about how Mass Toys is moving on from their very successful Skiff, and they're moving into a Masterpiece Seeker. Now, these figures are going to be retailing for about $100 US each, and so they are attempting to crowdfund them now. Scroll back up the page a little bit. Actually, $110. So they're looking for $80,000, and they've got 44 days left to find it. We'll see how this goes.
Crowdfunding stuff, sometimes it happens anyway.
It does. Is this actually their site, or is this their own site that they're running a crowdfunding?
Yes, this is Mass Toys.
Okay.
So, yeah, I didn't think that Skiff did particularly badly in the redeckers of it.
No, it didn't. We've been saying for a while that they need to move on to their next project though, instead of just repainting Skiff.
Maybe they just squandered everything, just churning out paint schemes.
Yeah, they clearly went out for a drink and ended up blowing the budget on a very expensive bit of alcohol for one night. No, so so they're calling these guys the air soldiers. You can see they'll be $110. If you crowdfund them, then you'll get them for $90. Or if you if you buy all three of them, then you get them a whopping $4 discount. So they'll be $86 each. The Masterpiece Scale Seekers, that's quite the killer price though. These guys look pretty good.
Well, yeah, I think it's certainly an improvement over MP11.
Yeah.
But even when it comes to stuff like, you look at the Coronation set for Starscream here, instead of going that big plastic clamshell the original has, he's got that full fabric cape here, which I think fabric goods on Transformers is generally a really fun thing.
I don't know. Like, MMC's put a cloak over their figures a couple of times, right? And I'm not sure how I feel about it, but whatever. You don't need to use the fabric figure. So
I should have brought the cloak for Drift down to the Toy Fair actually, and then it was showing you that, because it's a really well done. It elevates a figure a fair bit, I'd say.
Yeah. Anyway, so Mass Toys is running a crowdfunding project. It's got a month and a half left. They're looking for $80,000, so go for it. So there's one aspect of being in Adelaide that we haven't actually talked about on the podcast, which is Adelaide is bloody cold.
I don't know what's going on. We came off of the hottest summer in record and the hottest April in record, and now it feels like I'm in the snow. It's ridiculous.
So what you're saying, I think, is that the maniac in control of Adelaide's weather control machine is out of control.
So Elon Musk.
Yes. Actually, that's quite true of Elon this week, but yes, let's not talk about that. Let's go for the next story. So this is the Rolling Thunder Optimists, who's coming from TFC Toys, and he's a reference to he's an imagining of a G1 style Optimus Prime from a G.I. Joe comic.
Yes, this is it's from a big concept art from Don Figueroa.
Yeah.
It never actually made it into the comic.
Yeah, it wasn't actually in the comic, was it? But so this figure looks really good, really detailed. I like the sort of military pose that they've given Prime there with the hands behind the back.
Very fitting.
Lots of accessories and different camos as well.
Yeah, so you've got sort of just your standard obvious Prime colours over there, and then if you want more of your G.I. Joe based stuff, it comes in the green camo.
Also, a good way to sell 2 toys instead of 1.
Yeah, I believe Zovagen did the same thing a few years back, and that figure released to little fanfare on account of apparently being quite bad.
It is not the first time that we've seen someone attempt this style of Optimus, but this does look like that's a really good looking figure there.
Yeah, he just looks so. And the thing with GFC is they've got a poor reputation. You know, they were one of the pioneers of a third party, third party market, and then they sort of dropped off a bit when they got sort of outclassed by everyone else.
Yeah, they did.
And then it came back, and they showed a lot of promise with their Light Kaiser, and then all reports of their Piranacon / King Poseidon say that it's one of the best third-party combiners to date. So if they can maintain that sort of quality here, then I think they're in for a really good release.
I think so. I'm just looking at the top of the left leg where you can see straight through to the back of the figure. But okay.
Well, it's just perfect.
It's just the angle. Anyway, let's move on. We do have a couple more news stories to cover. So we're looking at New Age. Now we looked at New Age's new Bumblebee figure last week or the week before, and it is a Bumblebee that is small enough to fit into the trailer. Is it the trailer of MP10 or is it the trailer of one of the
trailer of one of the little Legends-sized Optimus Primes? Like the
yes, that's right. I remember getting this wrong in the first place. So this Bumblebee is pretty small, but this is not the only thing that we've got in here. If we scroll down, they've also revealed some well, I say other figures, but what we're actually looking at is other repaints.
Yeah, so we got a
Bumblebee as well. So there's a gold bug here,
and I think it says Bug Bite, isn't it?
Yeah. So there's a Bug Bite. They've called him Critter, and yeah. So I've got a older Masterpiece Bug Bite as well, which doesn't really look as good as this, but again, like, nice way to make people buy multiple copies of your toys, release it simultaneously in different repaints that are all popular.
Yeah, and the size of this figure was like 3 inches tall or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, something ridiculously small.
Absolutely tiny. And to maintain, look at the back of that figure. There's very little kibble there. I mean, not much more than a Masterpiece.
It's a very little figure with very little kibble.
And he retains a lot of posability. He's got elbows, knees, what have you, and ankle tilts on a figure that small. But then he pulls off such a good looking vehicle mode as well.
Yeah.
At that scale, it's really impressive.
Excuse me. It is getting late for me. Anyway, it's not late for you. It's late for me because as I say, I'm in Adelaide. It's half an hour later for my body clock, so I feel like it's 10 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we go from one G1 Minibot Masterpiece or Legend scale to the next, which is Ocular Max has released a look at its Cliff Jumper. Now, Cliff Jumper is the new battleground. X-Transbots has one. Ocular Max has one. Ace Toys already released one like a year and a half ago, early last year. So Ocular Max is out this week with a look at their Hell Lion. And so he's their Masterpiece scale G1 Cliff Jumper. He comes with a big gun. He comes with multiple bumpers that seem to have very little difference to each other.
I don't know. I don't see anything in the other images that really identifies what those are for.
I wonder if they have different license plates on them.
Okay.
Oh, there goes my phone.
Water skis.
They're not bumpers, they're water skis.
Yeah, Cliff Jumper.
That's great. Yes.
Cliff Jumper's iconic water skis.
From that one episode where Cliff Jumper got on the water. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. That is quite obvious now, although I think it's less obvious because there's a curved point at each end. It does look like a bumper bar. I stand by my initial assessment, but I can totally accept that they are in fact water skis.
Well, not. They seem kind of superfluous, if I'm honest. But the rest of the accessories look really solid. 3 interchangeable heads, 2 rifles, spoiler, and his massive rocket launcher.
Yeah,
it's about all you could want from a cliff jumper, really.
Pretty much, yeah. Now the question is, like, so do you already have a masterpiece cliff jumper, or have you ordered one?
No, for most masterpieces, I end up waiting for the official version. If it's something like cliff jumper, where it's probably coming.
You would hope so, right?
Yeah.
Like, they've even done a red Bumblebee. I gotta say, like, I got Ace Toys Tumblr out last week, and like, with a year between the initial release and its like hailstorm of criticism that it attracted, and now kind of still like the little guy.
It's not a bad figure. I mean,
yeah, he's not a bad figure. Some parts of him don't quite hang together that well, but like, he's a nice looking figure. I don't think I care about Ocular Max or X Transbots doing Masterpiece Cliff Jumper. I don't think I need one.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm clearly in the minority, but yeah.
Well, I think for most people ended up skipping Tumblr, and so like, I don't know. And when it comes down to it, I'm really nasally.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, people are going to be, weighing up X Transbots, Ocular Max. I don't think there's any question of what people are going to go for. Like, based on pure aesthetics alone, this doesn't look much different. It looks like Cliff Jumper, and it looks like a solid figure. So I think this is going to be the go for most people.
See, I kind of reckon there's going to be a lot of people go for X Transbots, but I also think Ocular Max does have a bit of a reputation that they need to claw back. Some of their recent figure releases have not been that well accepted.
Yeah, Mastermind Creations recently, like, because it's the same company, right? It's been a bit on and off. Because they had stuff like their Cosmos, where if you follow the instructions, you will break the figure. Well,
and like I said, that's one of the Ocular Max releases. They have been, they have been struggling a little bit with some of their recent releases, and
I don't think they've really been able to hit the same high tier that they were able to with their Sphinx.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever hit the mark that they hit with Sphinx quite as much ever again.
No, it's like you, and that was their first release. So it's just been almost a steady downhill. Really.
So you can see this guy is PS09, right? And so what do we have? We had Sphinx, then we had Liga, and then we had Hoist and Trailbreaker, and
Inferno and Grapple.
Inferno and Grapple.
They did a redeck of those, didn't they?
They did for
conventions.
I don't know if they did in Artfire actually, but they've done them for conventions, and then they've done Cosmos, and I can't remember what the other one they've done was, but it's their recent releases have not quite set the world on fire. So maybe, hopefully, there's a return to form. We'll see.
Should we see what the next story is?
That was a terrible segue, but let's go. We are looking at Fans Hobbies MB06 Power Baser, a very well received Power Master Optimus Prime. This is the black version. You might be tempted to call this a Nemesis Prime, but he is not. He is actually the Nuclear Quest Super Convoy Optimus Prime.
I think the only real distinction between those two is the lack of teal. Beyond that, this is Nemesis Prime.
Beyond that, yeah, except his eye color his eye color gives away that he's actually the Nuclear Quest reference.
I think that's sort of a blue eye color thing, because Nemesis has the usual red. It's close, but it's a bit like how, at the end of Armada Prime, you got much darker color scheme, and it's like, is that supposed to be Nemesis Prime?
Yeah, we can't tell.
No, yeah. I don't think anyone said anything bad about this figure.
No, everyone's been like raving about it, and so it's done well for Fans Hobby, and it's not really a surprise to see them sort of go back to the well and release another figure with same mold, different colors. But yeah, look, I didn't pay that much attention to Power Baser when he first came out, except for the praise for it, and then I was just like, well, I've missed that, whatever. And looking at it now, I was like, yeah, like, I could certainly go for it, but I don't really have a place for that in my collection.
Yeah, so it's something that really appeals to me in terms of on an engineering level.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, where do I put it? It's
well, look, there are people who have problems figuring out where to put like DX9 Gabriel in their collection, but
that's a whole different problem.
Yeah, but like for us, the problem is just more, this guy doesn't fit, like stylistically.
Yeah, that's like saying, how do you put a toddler in a D12?
I'm not sure that we're allowed to answer that legally. All right, is that it for the news? No, there's another one. There's so there is a thought that the next Transformers Encore release is actually going to be Air Attack Optimus Primal, and I kind of don't care about this, but Encore has been really quiet for a really long time.
Sort of, the last thing they did, I feel like, was it was the what is it from Car Robots? They did those recently, didn't they? So maybe they are actually moving on with the Encore series as a thing. So fair enough. And is there a story there for that? No, too late. Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
No. Yeah, so it's carrying. I guess the story just says it's carrying on after the tarnished reputation of the debacle that was Godfire Convoy.
Yeah, that was not great for them, was it?
I had a little bit of chuckle the other day. I was walking through Adelaide and went to unnamed store in the city and saw that Godfire Convoy for $520, I think it was.
Fair enough. I kind of feel like you should name it now.
That's Shin Tokyo, which I thought you loved. So
no, I don't love them, but like I've been there once. I've only been to Adelaide twice now, so like I enjoyed visiting the store once before, but I didn't buy anything because their prices were ridiculous. But yeah,
one of those places that has like really good sales, and then everything else is just
yeah, that's right. You know,
it's meant for people that don't know what they're doing.
I did buy something there before, but it was a good price. So yeah. So we are into the briefest of brief things in news. There is a pop-up movie channel coming to Foxtel. If you have Foxtel, like a lot of people do, there will be a Transformers pop-up movie channel coming in late 2018. Oh no, that's Bumblebee. Oh, these press releases are so confusing. June 6th to June 11th. So it's starting this week, and it's only this week.
Oh, so it comes up basically. If Bumblebee trailer comes out June 5th in the States,
yeah,
and that means we'll probably see it like the morning of June 6th.
Yeah,
so Bumblebee trailer hits, and then we get the pop-up channel.
They show between all the movies on this channel.
Yeah,
fair enough.
I understand the timing, I suppose.
Yeah, true. So yeah, fair enough. Yeah, okay. So if you have Foxtel, then you can now watch next weekend or during the week all the Transformers movies. Aren't you lucky? All right, and I think there's just a couple of other small stories. Yeah. Pop culture shock, small scale. There's a G1 Optimus Prime. It's a 10-inch statue.
That's not very small.
Hey,
that's not very small. That's 10 inches.
Well, I mean, compared to some of the other statues we've seen, like
I suppose so.
You know, that's not too bad, and it's probably not likely to break the bank either.
I mean, it's a statue, so you'll probably get less detail than an action figure with none of the functionality at 10 times the price.
It looks all right.
I mean,
it's all right. It looks like a pretty good G1 Prime, actually.
I'm not getting statues in general. This actually doesn't look too bad, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
The cell shading especially makes it look like, you wouldn't be mistaken. I wouldn't hold it against you for saying that this wasn't a statue. Like this was just someone's drawn this.
Yeah. It looks about right. I do remember seeing a post from someone in the group during the week about a cell shaded MP10, and like the cell shading was ridiculous. Like it looked like the figure was underwater. This is what you're actually meant to do when you cell shade. Like it's meant to be subtle, and so like the shiny parts of Prime, like the windows and other stuff that's meant to have like a lot of variation in their cell shading and their cell shades. The rest of them is not meant to, and so they've really gotten that look right on this figure. So yeah, pre-orders are apparently coming soon. There's no information on pricing or availability, but I'm sure Brad will add it back into the run sheet when there's more information about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe it'll be Brad actually buying a statue for the first time.
Brad actually buys a bunch of statues.
Does he just not mention them?
Yeah, they're not necessarily Transformers statues.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. And final story is The Toys That Made Us is back on Netflix. Season 2 is out, and episode 2 of season 2 does cover a brief history of the Transformers brand.
I remember you said you've seen this, haven't you?
I have watched it. Look, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably don't need to watch this episode because you probably already know quite a lot about the history of Transformers. The episode's just meant to appeal to people who just want to know stuff about old toys. Like, it's not meant to present in huge detailed analysis of the history of Transformers. It's just hey, this is what happened. These people met these people, had a meeting, and decided to do this, this, and this. And here's a couple of super old prototypes. Thing that I learned from watching the episode was that some of the G1 toys actually exist as wooden prototypes because they are that old. Like they were built and filed down and drilled out of a block of wood to see whether or not their transformation process worked.
No 3D printing in the 70s and 80s.
No, although there was still computer designs going on, but yeah. So anyway, The Toys That Made Us season 2 does have a Transformers episode. Get on that, listen to it. If you're listening to the podcast and you watched it, let us know what you feel about it in the comments. Like I said, I quite liked the episode.
I remember at the toy fair today, like every second person that came to the store was like, oh, "Have you seen The Toys That Made Us?"
Yes.
And I, the person running the Transformers store, had to say, no, I haven't.
I haven't, so it's fine. Collectively, we've seen it.
Yeah.
That is it. That's the end of the news. It is time to talk about new acquisitions. There's only 2 of us. Actually, do you want to jump over to that? My acquisitions are fast, and you've got yours here to demonstrate. I received a little package in the mail today, and this week, as you can see from the screen share, we have the Prime and Megatron decos of the Transformers 80s cartoon soundtrack. I haven't quite figured out how to put these into my CD player yet.
Are they vinyl? Or?
They are vinyl, yeah. I think in order to fit them in the CD player, I think I have to fold them in half or something.
I'm sure that works.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that works. I'm gonna try it when I get home. There was also a if you just zoom in on the top there. There we go. So there's a Leo Convoy, a Botcon version of Leo Convoy, which I remember why I purchased this one now. So I did go, yes, great, I've got a Leo Convoy. And then I went downstairs, I'm like, hang on, I've got a Leo Convoy on my shelf. So I sold my old Leo Convoy because this one comes with instructions. Look, and the text-specs card. So, yeah.
If anyone's going to double up on a friggin' TFSS exclusive, it's going to be Jason.
Look, it was an accident. The only other stuff that I've got in this acquisition photo is the coin for MP15 and 16E, because I got the Japanese release, I didn't get a coin. And there's a G1 hot rod, the C78 release, which goes with my C77 Rodimus Prime. So like a couple of little peas in a pod.
I thought I can. You can stop presenting narrative.
We have.
I have no idea how Hangouts works. And I've been doing this for about 2 years. You usually just run the show, so it's like.
All right, so we're back in the room, and Max has a couple of new acquisitions that he had on the table at the toy fair today. I saw this when you posted a photo of it initially, and like I'm pretty excited to see it in person. Hold up, it's the it's Movie the Best Laserbeak, right?
Yeah, it's sort of, it was supposed to be a web exclusive, but sort of just recently got back from Malaysia, and that is, if you're looking for rare figures, that's kind of the place to be.
Yeah.
And so this was in a fair few stores there actually. It's picked up for not a terrible price, definitely
No, I think
more
actually,
than retail.
I think I actually saw him in the toy store in the Hong Kong airport as well.
Yeah, I saw him in Singapore airport as well. I was like, if I don't see that in Malaysia, I'll pick him up here.
Yeah.
Look, it is just Deluxe Dark Moon Bumblebee, so it's
In the
pretty
delightful
straightforward.
pink color.
Yeah, like it's about as generic a deluxe figure as you can get from an engineering perspective. But in terms of how he looks, he's bright pink.
He's not that bright actually. Like it's actually kind of a dark pink.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I feel like I'd have preferred bright pink.
Super bright pink, yeah.
Yeah, just because I didn't buy this figure because I wanted the movie Laserbeak. I bought this figure because I wanted the bright pink Bumblebee, right?
Yeah, fair
Because
enough.
it's just kind of ridiculous. And they went for that movie accurate, more muted pink that Laserbeak has in the film, as opposed to just, going all out. So, I can't fault them there, but maybe I'm not quite her personal tastes.
Yeah, fair enough. And you've got one other figure down there that is also an acquisition from your recent trip.
Yeah, once again, another movie deluxe, Cogman, which is maybe the most inaccurate figure of all time. One of
Possibly.
maybe
Is
the most
he
inaccurate.
actually a headmaster as well?
Yeah, he's
So he is a headmaster. Yeah.
secretly one of the best Titans Return figures.
Yes. So is his headmaster at least accurate to his on-screen appearance?
Yeah, that's sort of, if you look at the like the face sculpt there, that's dead on to what he actually looks like in the movie.
So that is, but like when you unfold his headmaster, how does he look?
Oh, it's not even close. The head is the head definitely is. The head is, I'm like, this isn't going to show up on the camera. But the little head on the Titan Master is definitely movie Cogman.
Okay.
This is one of those.
It's like that's all right. Okay.
It's the best they're going to do. Now getting this, it's like it seems very clear that toy manufacturers get early scripts from movies before movies even filmed.
Do you mean Hasbro told itself what they were filming?
What Hasbro? I think Hasbro might have less involvement in these movies than we realize.
I think Hasbro has very, very tight involvement in the movies. It's Hasbro Studios.
Okay, well maybe. Well, in that case, Hasbro
may
have stuffed up a bit.
In that case, no one knows what the hell this figure is.
Yeah, well, it seems like in an early script there was supposed to be a scene when, I suppose it would be like he gets motivated and like. He gets angry because of Anthony Hopkins' death and rips off Nitro Zeus's head and goes on a rampage. And that seems very much like what was going to happen. It's a bit like that scene.
Oh, you mean he rips off Nitro Zeus's head and takes over his body and goes on a rampage?
Yeah.
I see. Fair enough.
Like the toy line,
So
everything to be crossed it.
You could in fact swap Cogman's head onto Nitro Zeus.
Yeah, or any other Titans Return Deluxe, but there was I believe it was a cross-sell between this guy and Nitro Zeus.
A cross-sell?
Where it's like got the other figure listed as being compatible on the package.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't. Maybe. I think on the box for Nitro Zeus it was like also sold separately.
If not, it was like, Nitro Zeus, his head comes off and doesn't transform. This guy's head comes off and does transform. It's a bit like that scene in Infinity War, which I won't talk about, despite the movie being over a month old. That was clearly going to happen, that you can see based on the trailers and the toys, and then got cut. Right at the end.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yes.
Anyone who's seen the toys for Infinity War, in any sort of depth, you know what I mean. It was supposed to be a big dramatic moment, like this was going to be, and then that made it into the toys and didn't happen in the movie. And so it's another example of what I'm going to call Cogman syndrome.
So I kind of feel like it's more a case that the character, they thought the character might prove popular, but they couldn't make a full transformer out of him. So they said he was a headmaster, so they've given him a car.
I mean, because he has this Aston Martin and he drives in the movie. So it seems like he may be combined with that. It's like because it's in Age of Extinction, right? There's that 3-pack, which has the Skids redeco into Roll Bar, which looks exactly like Shane's car, and it comes in the pack with Viacom that looks like the cemetery with cars.
You're asking a lot for me to remember this.
And he comes on Voyager Prime.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's lines in that movie where, like, Shane's like, what kind of crazy cars are these guys driving? So it's like, obviously setting up they're driving Decepticons.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, he's driving insane in his real car. He says, well, I'm driving so insanely today. You know, some stupid line from like that. So it's like setting up he's actually driving an Autobot. And then it gets cut from the movie.
That was really meta.
It wasn't that meta.
It was a little bit meta. So Cogman and Laserbeak.
They're very much what you expect from Movie Deluxe,
Mm-hmm.
except Laserbeak is a bright pink bumblebee, and Cogman happens to be a headmaster.
I kind of like Laserbeak, but I wonder whether or not I like Laserbeak because I've taken a bit of a liking to the studio series Bumblebee. Because he is practically the same mold.
Yeah, well, all bumblebees are really, really similar. Like,
yeah,
this figure's
all bumblebees are one.
This figure would have been designed in like 2010 at the latest.
Yeah.
So this is potentially an 8-year-old figure. No, Studio Series Bumblebee came out this year. Right, so, I mean, I guess given the nature of Bumblebee's design, there's not much different you can do. I did some different stuff with the second design he gets in AoE, the one that he shares with Stinger.
Yeah.
Because that sort of changes up the positioning of like the front of the car.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Well, so and the Studio Series Bumblebee is a much different figure as well. So I mean, a different vehicle. All right, look, we've been on the air for quite a while. I think it's about time we actually finish because it is literally just the two of us sitting in a room chatting with each other. Just the two of us. And you're actually freezing.
Yeah, I don't think I'm freezing. I've got really high body heat on account of being kind of fat. So I don't think I'm freezing. I think I'm actually just sick.
Fair enough.
I feel like shit, to be honest.
Look forward to me being sick in the next week.
I'm looking forward to doing a convention tomorrow. That's for sure.
Yeah, fair enough. Look, you've actually got the con cold, perhaps.
I feel like it came on Friday night, but then again, I could have gotten that from setting up on Friday night.
Yeah, you could have. Still, look, we are at the end of the podcast. Like, we've done new acquisitions, we've done news. We're all good, right? We're good for another week, and so I think we may as well wind it up. So, thank you for listening. There was until a second ago someone actually watching us live, and they've since dropped off since we started talking about your health.
I don't think they want to watch someone die.
No, they probably don't.
YouTube.
They probably don't. Look, all of these stories and more are listed in the show notes. So if you're interested in checking out the source of them, look at the show notes. There's generally links to Cybertron, TFW 2005 and more. You'll find all of us in the Transformers Collectors Club Australia discussion group on Facebook. And you can find out more about the club at transformerscca.com. So thank you for listening. We'll be back with more Transformers news next week. Well, some of us will be back. Max may be dead, but we'll see.
I'm fine.
You say this, but yeah.
No, I can't actually stop shaking.
No, I know.
It's kind of funny and also really uncomfortable because there's a camera right there.
It is.
So ordinarily, this would be audio, and my webcam at home is not high quality enough that you'd be able to see something.
No,
like this.
Usually we just see you in silhouette. So yeah.
I bought a new bulb for my lamp. I'll have you know. Except now Jason has a very high quality computer, so everyone can see me shaking all over the place. Yeah, we can. All right. We need to turn on a heater so that Max doesn't expire, and that is the end of the podcast. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week. Sorry.
Well, you'll see us next week. We won't see you. Except for you, that one over the back. Stop doing that.